Good afternoon and welcome to our first independent live event presented by SocialGov. There's no branding or anything like that. We don't know what we're going to call this in the future. We'll get to that. But for this session, we wanted to get this information to you as soon as possible. I'm your host. My name is Tanner Iskra. I'm a video producer with the Department of Veterans Affairs. I also host the VA's official podcast, Born the Battle. And I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. With me today is a fellow SocialGov board member and fellow VA employee, Dominique Ramírez. Dom is a Navy veteran. He's a web developer for VA. He helps manage his pages all across va.gov and leads an intern Navy, not Army, that helps create content for VA's blog site, Vantage Point, which is blogs.va.gov, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hopefully soon we will have with us Nora Dempsey from the Department of State, who is, based on her LinkedIn account, has been with the department for 34 years in various roles and is now a or the senior advisor for the innovation department for the Department of State. Is she the director of the virtual student federal service program, Don? Do you know? Or
I believe that's Cheryl.
Okay,
Cheryl Samples.
Okay, so Cheryl is also
She's the
in
head
the chat.
honcho that I talk to.
That's great. Well, hopefully she can help moderate some. Hopefully she'll help moderate some of this and get some of the questions. Okay. A couple admin notes before we start. Please put your questions in the chat as we have a moderator or moderators, also ourselves that are going to be scrolling through. We have this slated for an hour-long session. We'll have Nora hopefully soon, but we'll have her for about 30 minutes of the time. I'm going to do some probing questions, some basic questions for about the first 20 and leave about 40 minutes for Nora and Dom until we've answered all your questions or until we've answered all your questions. So Dom, since I got you here right now, for those that have never heard of this program, what is the Virtual Student Federal Service Program?
Well, thank you, sir. The Virtual Student Federal Service Program is actually it's a program that I got involved with back in around 2016. I was actually the webmaster / social media person for the Veteran Experience Office and here at the VA. And I was just one person, but I had all these different things that I needed done. And I remembered when I was working at Federal Student Aid on the social media team over at FAFSA, Ask FAFSA was our monthly office hours thing that we used to do. But I remember we got a presentation from some folks over at VSFS telling us about the program. And we thought it was really cool. We actually started using it after I left. I had shortly thereafter left to come to VA, but I remembered that presentation and I decided to look into it and ask my boss if I could submit some projects. And she said that I could go ahead and do it. And so I gave it a shot and, I ended up getting 17 new interns on the team. And it was awesome. They did a lot of great work. They helped me create social media content, blog content. They helped me do some web development work. They helped me do a lot of stuff that year, and it's only expanded since then. And it looks like we got Nora online.
Yes, we do. Nora, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Outstanding. Got you. Hey, how you doing?
Hey. I was doing something pretty stupid, which is why I wasn't getting on.
Happens. It happens.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
So sorry. I did already just to bring you up to speed. We already did the intros. I told everyone how great you are and how you've been with the Department of State.
No, I heard that intro. I heard it like is she the head of the program, and it's like no. It's like wait a minute, I built the damn thing. So you bet you I'm that. No, Cheryl is officially the program director, which is great, and she does everything I said, which is also excellent. And gotcha. Cheryl will laugh when she's hearing me say this, but we're a great team. And Cheryl comes from straight from VA to us last fall. And so we're delighted to have her. And VA is, as always was State Department was the #1 beneficiary of this program. And #2 was USAID. And now VA is hot on the heels of USAID. So I think, you may well be the biggest beneficiary. Gotcha. And the biggest the virtual visionary we've ever had in the program is Dominique Ramírez, who's with us today. He took it to another level when all of a sudden he was in a place where they were, letting everybody go except Dominic. He thought, well, I'm just going to step into the great beyond with virtual students and they're going to save the day. And that's what happened.
Outside, I know it's outstanding. When I saw him start the program, I've been leveraging it for the podcast as well. Nora, you mentioned USAID, you mentioned VA, and you mentioned Department of States. How many agencies currently utilize the program?
Last year was our biggest year ever. So the pandemic took us from about 2,500. Students can only apply in July. So from July 1 to 31, that's when students apply. And last year, instead of like 2,300 students, we had nearly 8,000. So
wow.
Part of that was the fact that there's a third member of our little team whose name is Megan Kuhn, and she now does outreach sessions for students in universities. That was last summer, was the first time she ever did that. So that was really, really helpful. But the other thing that explains it is the pandemic. So all of a sudden, the State Department was really prescient, a decade ago, saying, now's the time for virtual interns. I mean, last summer, the private sector, the gig economy, California was on the phone calling me saying, Uber called me and said, should we cancel all our in-person internships? And we're like, no, why would you do that? Don't do that. But not everybody is as visionary and as brave and bold and organized as Dominique.
Yeah, no. We actually brought on, what was it, 40 or 50 interns that lost their internships through the pandemic. We did that over the summer.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was really good stuff. Nora, how many agencies have utilized the program already?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely skipped that question. 70 have been part of us.
Wow.
But last year was 57. So, it comes and goes. Like there'll be somebody from for 3 years in a row, there was CIA had projects. And then last year, somebody visionary left and they didn't do their projects. And CDC has always been part of us. But then last summer, all of a sudden, all their projects had to pivot to COVID. So then a bunch of other projects shut down. So, we always joke around that I think the fun thing to say is that when I joined VSFS in the Christmas time of 2012, we were just the State Department. And so my value added was to take it wide, and if you Googled, when I first joined up with Bridget, when I Googled VSFS and it said Victoria's Secret fashion show. And it did that for a number of years. And now if you Google VSFS, it stands for the Virtual Student Federal Service. So it started as Virtual Student Foreign Service because it was kind of like the Foreign Service. It was like in the Foreign Service, I was in the Foreign Service, went running around the globe for a career. And when you're in the Foreign Service, you put down what you want, where you want to go. And then you argue for yourself and then they pick something for you. And that's like this. Students can pick 3 projects and then they argue for themselves and then somebody picks that. And we always joke around that the F, it stood for foreign, then it stood for federal, but it always stands for flexible. So we try to say yes. We start with yes, we default to yes. We are just the connective tissue between agencies and citizens, students. And they're transforming the government. They're keeping emerging tech, like they're keeping us up to date. And Dominique can say what they've done. They've done incredible things.
Yeah, I know for us, it's been an incredible force multiplier when it comes to digital media within the VA. To Dom's, vision on the program, we use the program for writing, communications, graphic design, video production majors. I use them for the podcast show. I use all those different ones. Dom has been expanding it. He's been even doing HR and IT. It's the way and how he scaled it up.
And the students just love working for you guys.
It's just a really good.
How could they not? How could they resist?
What if some agency uses? What have some agencies use this program for, outside of what would we think? Outside of what me and Dom would use it for. Like, what are some other things?
I made big use of it for communications purposes. Whether it's visual communication or audio or draft or writing, but lots of folks use it for, I'll give you some examples. So one guy this year who I have to say, Dom, you've got some competition. A little, is that a guy who was in the computer science field in the State Department put in a project for artificial intelligence and he asked for 3 interns. And then when he saw the hundreds of interns who applied, he thought, what am I doing? And he took 175 and he built an artificial intelligence sort of, I don't know what you call it. It's like a base camp, and it could change the way we do many things across the federal landscape about cybersecurity. So it's artificial intelligence. He took a lot of folks and he taught them how. Some of them were coding, some of them were really using it for taxonomy. He really upped it. And some other, like we got a project in from a guy from the National Park Service who took 3 students, and he wanted to talk about, he wanted to see what was possible about preserving sort of nesting capacity for certain birds in certain endangered situations. And again, it involved artificial intelligence, and it involved coding capability. And those students got together and researched and found him ways to get grant money. So they got him $5,000, and now those nests have these, I don't know, they have little cameras. The poor birds can't do anything without being seen, and it's preserving the ability for these little birds to have little babies. And the man is thrilled, So there's a lot of science happening. The HHS task force, the coronavirus task force from the White House last year, was run by virtual interns. So HHS was completely reliant. So I think, there's something for everybody out there. And a lot of
what you're saying is the world's your oyster. If you could think of it, and you can write a position description, and you can find a major that supports it. There's probably an intern out there.
Yeah, one of the guys from the State Department said to me, as a guy came in as like a big deal guy, and he said, Nora, this program sounds great, but I would need somebody who's getting a PhD in macroeconomics who speaks Farsi fluently. And I said, you just ask for it. You'll be surprised. And he got He got a PhD candidate in macroeconomics who speaks Farsi fluently. So you just have to put out there what you need, and this great big country's got it. And
you never know what you get. Yeah. All right, I want to be cognizant of your time, Nora. I know you got 3 minutes. I got about 4 more questions, then we'll get to Q&A for about 10 minutes. How many students were left without an internship last year? For those that are listening, like, I want to make this happen for us. How many students were out there?
5,500.
There you go.
It's heartbreaking. I hate to say, I said to Cheryl this morning, I hate to say we need your projects. No, we don't need them. We're here to serve, and we're connective tissue, and we try to make it work. But all of us feel bad for these, these students you can't get an in-person internship in a lot of places, and they keep canceling in-person internships because different folks are afraid. And so let's,
it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be able to say yes to everyone. It'd
be nice to at least say yes to half of them. Yeah.
One thing I like to point out is, imagine how much other things you could have gotten done for the American citizens if you had some extra hands around to help with. Because, if you think, I know Tanner uses his own little sub team of our overall team of podcast interns to do all sorts of work on his behalf so that he can focus on making quality podcasts. So, he's told me in the past he couldn't do it at the level that he's doing it without the help from these amazing college students.
Absolutely not. And the college students, they run the gamut. Like my coordinating producer intern, she works in a tax office while she's getting her master's, and in the meantime, she's booking talent or booking guests on a calendar for me, and it's just, and running the rest of the internship, the writers, the bloggers, the video producers. I couldn't do the podcast at the level we're doing it right now without them. They write all the social media, they do all the video, all the graphic work. They're incredible.
You got a great voice, Tanner.
Thank you. Voice just made for podcast, face made for radio. Dom, as you built this program, what should the program manager be cognizant of? Someone that wants to do this. I know we've done stuff. I know you've had to build training programs, HR, IT, there's firewall issues. What are some of the things that some of these program managers are like, all right, I want to do this. What should they be cognizant of?
Well, one, it's easier to do than you think. So don't let, concern about complicated process for signing up. Don't let that be a reason not to do it. Really, you just need yourself and somebody else in your office to create an account on the VSFS website, because you got to have 2 mentors for each for your project. But you just write some words, a couple paragraphs, not that hard, and submit them. You say, This is what I want. I need help with this. and then you will be surprised at the number. You'll probably get a lot of applications for your projects, and if you don't get as many as you needed, there is a possibility of getting some of the interns that didn't quite get selected for their internship the first time, because as was noted earlier, we have so many people that have applied that there's just no way to give them all an internship. So it might be possible to get an intern after the fact, but you're probably going to get a lot of applications. Aside from that, I would say, keep in mind that there's an administrative burden involved in here. So, in my opinion, it is nowhere near the amount that you get back from doing it, but you do have to fill out some paperwork from the college every now and then, because they want to, they have to prove to get course credit and in some cases grants and whatnot, stipends. They have to prove that they're actually doing an internship. So you'll just have to sign some paperwork, maybe do an evaluation. If you're going to be setting up a large team, which I can talk about a little later, keep in mind that you're probably going to want to get a team of human resources interns. I discovered that because it's kind of hard, to keep track of everything at that point. So you want to have some interns around to help you out with that. And then finally, another thing to keep in mind if you're going to get a big team, interns can be leaders as well. That's how I was able to expand it to the size that the internship grew to, is by putting the interns in charge of their own teams. These are college students. They're professionals in the making. And as a junior officer, I was put in charge of large teams on a ship. Heck, even as a 19-year-old, I was put in charge of large teams as an enlisted person. And these are college students. They can do it. Just put them in charge of stuff. And to answer a question from Sharon, they are unpaid.
Yep, completely unpaid.
Can I say a word about unpaid, Tanner?
What's that?
I want to say a word about unpaid.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
We totally, the VSFS team, we love that students can get paid, and we are all support. There's legislation on the Hill right now that will command the State Department to pay every in-person full-time intern. But that said, that legislation includes a cutout just for the virtual student federal service, because 10 hours a week, the digital experience to intern with somebody, that opens so many doors that it would be a shame to cut it out. So they're not cutting it out. It's too valuable. And so many students, as Dominique said, get course credit, and they get a chance to taste what it would be like to work for government. So it really wakes up everybody. And it's so great for all the students, and it's great for us. Good
stuff. Okay, to submit position descriptions and to register and all that, I know time is of the essence, right? We have until the 18th for anybody that's listening to this that wants to do this.
Right.
11 days. You've got a sizable interagency audience here. Nora, make your pitch. Take a minute or two. Why should everyone listen to get involved in the program and hire these students?
Everybody should do it because it's free. So it's a free shared resource. And you look lame if you don't do it. Everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is in it.
It's the cool thing to do.
It's a cool thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And it makes your job way more fun, and you do much, much, much better work. You keep up. So I heard it put this way: if there's something that you're sick of doing, get a virtual intern to do it. And if there's something you wish you could do, get a virtual intern to do it. And if there's something you wish you could learn how to do without feeling like a fool in front of your friends and colleagues, get a virtual intern to teach you how to do it, because they have new ideas. They're, sometimes they're a decade younger, 2 decades younger, 3 decades younger, 4 decades younger. They know stuff you don't know, and they see stuff in a way you don't see it. And you need to connect with the people in their generation. And who better than to connect you with the people of the United States and their generation than those students? Let them help you. When folks write to us and say, well, what kind of software should I use with my student? We say, ask them. Ask what they think. And
there you go.
That has really opened a lot. I mean, sure, Dominique agrees with me. If you use a little humility in the way you talk weekly to your intern, you will learn so much. And finally, the thing to do is that this is a way to have a team of your own. So whether you're the lowest guy on the totem pole, this way you can put out there in the universe the kind of student you'd love to work with, what their skill sets are, who they are. Then you get to pick them. nobody tells you have to hire this person or that person. You get to talk to them, look at their interview, look at whatever you want, their writing samples, whatever you want, you get to choose. So you can work with somebody you really like, where that magic that happens between people is there, and it's fun. It's actually fun.
Yeah, to your point, I wanted to up the video production quality of the podcast here, because we also host the podcast on YouTube on the Department of Veterans Affairs, and all I did was I was like, hey, interns, go find me a good program that works both on Mac and PC, and I can work on my government computer. And we tested a million different things throughout the year, and we found a good shooting solution. I couldn't have done it without the interns.
That's great.
Okay.
And there's people at the State Department who, like, on the point where if there's something you don't want to do, something you feel like, all of us, as you've been in career for a while, you think, man, I wish I didn't have to do this piece of it, because it's now, how to do it, but it's now boring.
Exactly.
You can get the students. There's students who get up really early. I mean, this goes across the world. There's students who are studying in universities in Europe and in Asia, and you can get a student who wants to pull, newspaper reports from other countries on certain subjects in certain languages, translate them for you, and have them on your desk at 7 a.m. I mean, you can ask for anything and you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we call them our intern gremlins, the ones that work in the middle of the night. Okay, so Nora, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Cheryl, for anybody that that has follow-on questions that we don't get to, please put some contact information in the chat for everyone to listen to, and then I'm going to search for some questions here in the chat, Nora, that we can answer. First one from Gabrielle: Does state help with HR folks at our agencies to get these folks onboarded? I'm worried my agency will get hung up on them not being PIV credentialed. I know.
There's no, everything's unclassified. There's no security clearance. There's no badging. There's nothing. What there is anything you want. So we're connective tissue. If you want to up that game somehow, if you want to say the folks who make the short list for this internship are going to have to sign a non-disclosure agreement or go through another level of security clearance for my agency, that's on you. That's up to you.
Gotcha. This one is from Michael DiAugustino. What is the turnover rate for interns? I believe the projects go from September through May. Is there data on what percentage of interns stay the entire duration of the internship? I know sometimes we do have some drop, but most of them, I think, for us,
it's less than 5%.
Yeah, Dom, what do you think from? I mean, you got about a 300-person internship. But how many leave early?
It's hard to say, because we often replace them with others if they go. So I don't really. It's hard to give you a specific number.
I mean, what's great about that is we're flexible. So if somebody's not working out for you, you can say you're not working out. And then the student learns something.
That's true.
Exactly.
I had to do that like twice.
I had to do it last year once with one of the writers. I said, hey, look. And then I just reached out to Dom's HR team, and I was like, hey, I need another writer. And they're like, hey, I had one within the next week. It was incredible.
I mean, what's important for us, I got to put this out there, is that VSFS has a really sterling reputation. And a lot of universities, from MIT to the Citadel, count on VSFS to give a long-term engagement that's meaningful work, that's based on the work itself, the project itself. This is not make work. This is real work. And we want our reputation to stay solid. And so we're asking you, if you're going to do this, you take it seriously. You never blow that student off. You meet with that student every week. You give that student a really valuable chance to contribute.
Yeah, we with our blogs that we do and with our video productions, I give them weekly deadlines. I mean, I manage it just like I would when I was at out in the private sector with a media company. Hey, these are the deadlines. These are their, and if you don't meet it once or twice, you're gonna be replaced.
Yeah.
Okay, Todd Solomon, is there any recommended avenue to secure the internal approvals you acknowledge, login security, firewalls, etc.? I know we don't. I'll start with this one. I normally don't. They don't have PIV cards. They don't have anything like that. We use Slack, which is kind of like Microsoft Teams, and that's how we do a lot of our communications. I know Dom, some of the teams use Trello, right? Like there's some other communications that you do.
Nora mentioned this earlier about asking the students what they use. Well, that's what we did back in 2016. One of my interns suggested, hey, how about we use Slack for communications? Because emailing 17 to 20 people back and forth is a pain. So we did that. We set up Slack for general team communications, and we used Trello for workflows for, like, if you want to take a piece of content that everybody's going to collaborate on and move it through the process of, you know, various approvals, different contributions, writers, editors, researchers, graphic designers, and then finally our team giving it the thumbs up. It's just really easy to do it in Trello, Trello.com. Look it up. It's free. We love it. Works great.
Good one from Sophia Lou here. And I think this will get into the part where you actually put out your PDs and you actually start selecting your students. Do we have to decide the pool of interns prior to the start of the internship, or can we always go back to the pool of interns that applied if we did not choose them initially?
Yeah, again, we're flexible. So what we tell all the students who applied that they'll hear by Labor Day if they've been chosen. So after Labor Day, you know, there's 5,000 people crying. And then round about October, November, you find out who's not working out on your team, or you find out right away, like the guy that asked for 3 interns and then went to 175. He did that after the initial period. So he took like, I don't know, 20. And then all of a sudden he thought, wait, I could take this to another level. And he did it. So wow. Yeah, we are so flexible. We are here to help you.
Okay. Gabby Perrette, what about records management issues like FOIA with them not being on our government systems?
They're not employees, they're interns. And we handle all the reference checks for you. So, you know, 5 years from now, somebody will say, well, I used to work for Dominique Ramírez at the VA and I'm applying for this job. And can you, and we do. So we do all that data for you. We keep that.
Okay. I'm going to keep firing these off quickly because I know you're coming close to your time. Michelle Bartram, has anyone got special sworn status for these interns to allow access to them behind the firewall with VDI? I don't know anything about that. I hope you're able to answer that.
We can't answer that because, as I said, you can look at, you could go to register as a mentor today, whoever that is that just asked that. Go to vsfs.state.gov, think, you know, Victoria's Secret fashion show, vsfs.state.gov, and then go up there on the upper right and look at how to register, and then log in so that you're a mentor. Then look at go to all projects, filter for last year's projects, cruise through all the VA projects and see if any of your colleagues have already gone down that lane before to see what's possible.
From Lynn. Okay, so we'll get to Dom questions after Nora leaves. Let's see how many more. We're looking through some different stuff here.
I got to skedaddle, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Well, Nora, I guess plug your how can people reach you? How can people reach the program?
Go to VSFS@state.gov, and we answer every question personally because there's a family. We'd love to have you join the VSFS family, all of you. VA, it's time for VA to beat USAID, and who's benefiting from this program? You're good for the visual media. You're fine. Thank you so much for letting me speak. I really hope you all join the VSFS family. I leave you in good hands with Dom Ramírez and with the VSFS program director, Cheryl Samples.
Great. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Nora.
You're welcome.
All right, me and Dom are thank you, Nora. Me and Dom are going to continue the Q&A because I think there's some that are just in here for Dom, and then I think I can answer a couple myself. Can you give an example of the most successful VSFS experiences you've encountered? What are some of the best deliverables that have come out of VSFS, both valuable for interns and for the agency? I guess that would have been a good one for Nora. But for me, it's been blogs. I mean, with the podcast, we have a strategic marketing strategy. So we use the interns to create the blogs, to create social media write-ups, to do outreach. Some of the best stuff is, like, I have one intern, he literally has his own email distribution list. Whenever the podcast comes out, he's emailing the VFW, the Vietnam Veterans of America, Air Force Officers Association. He's found all these different, what we call podcast partners, and he's emailing them all the content, all the graphics, all the blogs, all the links, everything like that. Mary, as a coordinator producer, I couldn't do the podcast. The thing I hated the most was getting emails back and forth about what's a good time for the interview, your time, my time. She created a calendar, a booking calendar with times that I'm available for interviews, and it's just like, book your time based on his availability, and just manages all of that and all the logistics of that. So much valuable as far as time management. The writers, the video producers I basically just created the the templates, the cookie cutter, and then I give them that template, and then they just fill it out every week based on the guests that we have and the podcast that we do. Dom, what are some of the more successful, unique descriptions that you've had within your program?
Yeah, I would say one, my executive officer, Jennifer, she's been amazing. You probably talked to her at some point in the past. It's crazy. She's everywhere. I mean, you know, I kind of joke, but she pretty much runs that whole program. I originally, once we got to about 50 or 60 interns, I realized that the administrative burden was a bit more than I could personally handle myself, you know, fielding all the questions, you know, and just knowing what's going on administratively. I needed some help, basically. And I remember I brought Jennifer on, I think it was 3 years ago, as like a second round of recruiting, sort of like one of the people that didn't get selected originally. And I asked if she wanted to join. You know, I asked, basically, it was a leadership position that I put out there. And I asked her if she wanted to be my executive officer. We didn't have such a thing at that point, but I asked her that. And she came on as the executive officer. And she's just been amazing. Oh, my gosh. Like, if I need to know what's going on with something, I just ask her. And she'll tell me.
I know when I was having it, I needed a coordinating producer. You just like, oh, Jennifer will take care of it. And she did. She just like found like Mary. She's like, oh yeah, just have Mary here. I'll set it all up. And next thing you know, I had Mary. Yeah, she's been, having a person that just handles all that administrative stuff is amazing. Michael Bloom is there a cost to an agency for engaging with VSFS? From what I understand, absolutely not, right?
Hi, this is Cheryl. There is no cost.
Hey, Cheryl.
Yeah. Hey, Cheryl.
No cost whatsoever to agencies. Again, we're the connective tissue. Everything is done. The Department of State is hosting this for you. We are that connective tissue. All you have to do is submit a project. You will be amazed at the quality of student that applies for your projects. They just want to help. They're not looking for jobs. They're looking for experience. They want to show you what they can do.
Although I'd like to hire a couple. That I do have.
Yes, me too.
Full time. If you can hire them, we would say yes. We do have some success stories. Department of State has hired about 50 VSFS students as foreign service officers, which is what this program was initially developed for. But we have anecdotal data, you know, from agencies, because we do those background checks. These students are being hired because they're good at what they do. They have the academic credentials. Now they're getting the on-the-job experience by working with you and at these agencies, and they are producing.
Yeah. And just think about having, you know, a department, you know, a cabinet level department on their resume at the same time that they're going to school. You know, you're really helping these students.
Yeah, that's something that I focus on too. I try to give them opportunities to put bullets on their resume, like, you know, and we actually do little weekly events like Resume Friday, where people will submit copies of their resume, and they'll try to help each other out. Every now and then I'll see something and you know, maybe offer suggestion of like, well, you're doing this work in Social Studio. That's you know, we paid millions of dollars for that software. That's a pretty good bullet to have on your resume. You want to put that experience on it. You have 1 year experience using Social Studio.
Yeah. With the podcast, there's nothing but analytics, right? How many downloads, how many blog views, how many podcast downloads and video views, all that stuff. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely good for them as well. From Lynn Richmond, Tanner, I meant to ask you during the last webinar. I was on with you. Your video is so clear. What do you use for a camera? I have a DSLR. I have a Panasonic GH4 with a 20mm lens on it that I've hooked on with a video card connector to the computer. So it's not your traditional webcam. And then I've actually done some lighting here. So yeah, if you put a little bit of effort into it, you'll see a little bit of a difference. Appreciate the question. Am I missing any questions? How many hours or a month is a typical project? Okay, Dom answered that with 10 hours per week. Yeah.
I think there was some question about that. This is it's you know, it's part-time. Like this is not a full-time job for these interns. You got to keep in mind that they're taking college classes. They have class schedules. You know, a lot of them have to work. So, you know, if just know going in that you're probably going to get 10 hours a week. Some will go above and beyond. I don't ask them to do it, but some just like to do it. If you need more than 10 hours per week worth of help, ask for more interns.
There you go. There you go. Arthur Gallo, do you have a presentation that we can share with the management about the program? I know Cheryl does have a slide deck that we can probably maybe slide into that that Google Drive. I know this is going to be recorded and put on YouTube with a question mark.
Put on somewhere.
Yeah, we'll put it on. So we'll put it on the listserv where this can be found afterwards. Are there interns that return to a project or team after the first year? Absolutely. I mean, I have an intern. Mary's been with me for 2 years, and then actually the interns and Dom have created a volunteer program to go on after VSFS. If you want to expand on that, Dom.
Yeah, I actually was having a problem. After the interns graduate, they're not eligible to be interns anymore because you have to be attending a school. I'm sure it has something to do with labor laws. Cheryl could probably expand on that. But the problem I was having is the interns didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay with us and continue working. And I'm like, I would love for you to do so, because it's nice to have someone with experience that's sticking around and helping us out for free. But I can't. I'm not allowed to. So we actually reached out to our the VA Voluntary Services office, and they allowed us to set up a virtual volunteer team. So now when we have interns who, for one reason or another, decide they want to stick around, they basically process out of VSFS and into the voluntary service, and they just continue doing their work. And so I think we're up to like 15 volunteers now, but this is kind of a recent thing that we started doing. Yeah. Some of them just want to stick around and continue helping American citizens. So who am I to, stop them from doing it?
Let's see. I think I missed Mitzi coming, logging off. Appreciate the information. I think I've gone through as many questions as I've seen in the chat. Is there anything that I'm missing? About 42 minutes.
I didn't see anything that we didn't respond to, but I mean, if you want, I can just talk about the program in general, because we haven't really discussed like specifics much.
Yeah, talk about the application process. Okay, so I want to do this. I want to register. I want to get through the PD's descriptions. Talk about, in August when you actually have to go about selecting your students, like what's the interface look like? I know the students get to choose from 3 different ones. You have a list. How does that work?
Yeah, they so basically they have this little hashtag, apply in July. We have, and this is very important for those of you still on the call, and one of the reasons that I created that Google Drive folder for you to download position descriptions, we have until the 18th to submit our projects, because they have to turn them around and get them ready for the interns to start applying for them in July, hashtag apply in July. So you have, I believe, 11 days left to get your position descriptions written and get them submitted. And yep, there's the folder. I basically every year I take my previous year's position descriptions, and then I see, do we need anything else other than what we had last year? And usually the answer is yes. And then we'll write up some new position descriptions for that. But like I put them all in that Google Drive folder, so you can use ours if you want. Feel free to steal. I don't mind. Plagiarism is encouraged in this aspect.
Yeah.
But
appreciate it, Gallo, for sharing again.
But you will submit your position descriptions, and then you're just kind of in a holding pattern, right? You submit your projects, and then in July the interns start applying to them. And mind you, they have actually completely revamped their website, so the process may be a little bit different. But starting around about August, I believe, you can start going in and submitting offers. And usually there's a process that says something along the lines of, like, you can give somebody the thumbs down. Like, they're not going to know that you did this, but for your own management of the process, you could say close but no cigar is what it used to say, and they would go into one list, and then you'd have another list which was considering it, like this is possibly a good one, and then you'd have another list of you made offer sent, And this process might have changed a little bit with the new web design. I'm not sure, but it used to be if you sent an offer to somebody and they accepted your offer, then an email would be generated putting you two together, and then you could start your internship.
Yeah. I noticed, I know in the, and when we first started, I noticed that you were just sending offers and I was trying to do an interview process. And in the course of the interview process, I was losing the opportunity to hire some of the interns because they get hired so quickly. So the next year I kind of just like, all right, offer, and then figured it. Say you think you have a project that'll take about 5 interns. How many do you actually hire?
Personally, I generally ask for twice the number that I want. You only have to take so you can here's the thing. You can say you want 50 interns, but you don't have to take all 50 if you find that you don't need them. You can just bring on 10, but and I've had a situation in the past where I've submitted a project and it said, I need 2 interns. And it turns out I needed more than that. I just reached out to the great folks over at VSFS and I was like, hey, can you guys bump that up for me so I can try to make a couple more offers? And they said, yeah, sure. F stands for flexible, right? So they went ahead and did that, and I went and made some more offers. So I usually, whatever I think I need, I'll put there. I'll say 2 times that much, so that if I realize that I needed more, then I'll make some more offers. And but if you mess it up, don't worry. It's not. They're very flexible with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and say if you have more productive interns than you ever thought you would thought you would need, you're gonna find something for them to do. Like it's like you're gonna. I was like, oh well, I don't like doing this either. So here you go.
Hey, Dom and Tanner, can I put a plug in real quick?
Absolutely.
Sure.
For the creating of projects, I know a lot of people get hung up. We like to think we made this the simplest process ever. It's a short template that you have to do, and you can cut and paste. Dom has given you all access to a plethora of projects, but online, if you register, you can see over 700 projects from last year, and you just cut and paste. And what it does, we like to say, this gives you that inspiration. This gives you that innovation to see what everybody else is doing with this program. And I know when I came from VA, before I got this job, that's what I did. I was actually a mentor. I learned about the program. I was like, oh my God, how did I miss this? How did I not know that I could have some interns working? And I did curriculum work at the Department of Veteran Affairs. I'm like, oh, I can get students to do all this. I don't like doing policy stuff. Guess what? These interns are gonna, keep track of all the transition policies for me, send stuff to me, and then I feel like I'm the smartest person in the world. But what you do is you look at everybody else's projects. You take a sentence here, you take a sentence there, you cut and paste it in. It does not take you a long time. You know what will take you a long time? Is you start seeing those projects and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, I could use this. I could use this. I did it with my team here at Department of State. When I first came onto this job, Nora just told you, she'd been here for a while. The position I'm in had been empty for a while, and Dom will tell you. But, there were things that we needed in this program. We didn't have a communications plan, a strategic communications plan. That's not my wheelhouse. I got a master's student to do our comms plan. We didn't have anything like newsletters or somebody to create PowerPoint templates for us. So I didn't have to go out to one of these template sites and pay $300 for a membership. I would just send the template from the membership to the intern and say, hey, I need this template. Can you do it for me? This PowerPoint template. Now I have a plethora of templates that I share with our whole team that an intern created. But again, these are all things that I learned from the website. I copied everything. Don't reinvent the wheel. There is a project from the Department of Veterans Affairs or from some other agencies. We had projects from 54 agencies. Yeah. I kid you not. There's a project out there that you can cut and paste. And we are here to walk you through. You have our information. As long as you hit us up at vsfs@state.gov, we will sit down. We'll take 15 minutes, walk you through this whole process. We want you to join the VSFS family.
I love the passion in your voice. I can tell that you love what you're doing, and that's great. Honestly,
I can't believe I have this job in the government and they pay me for it.
Tanner, one thing to say about the copying and pasting. I think the main thing to keep in mind is that you just need to get something in. Like, I remember when I was joining the federal government, my wife was having me apply to all these different jobs, and she's just like, you just need to get a foot in the door, okay? And then you can bounce around somewhere else if you want to. Well, the point here is you just need to get you need to get a project in so you can get some interns, all right? And
get your feet wet.
Even if you didn't get the amount of applications that you needed, there's an opportunity possibly after, because keep in mind, like was said earlier, they had thousands of students that applied for internships and didn't get it. They didn't get selected because there wasn't enough projects. So there's an opportunity for you to possibly get an intern even after the fact.
Don't just think about a project. Think about adding to your team. That's what we did. We didn't do an intern just to do newsletters. We selected interns with a diverse sets of skills, So they can do videography, they can write, they can do graphics. So as our tasks change daily, guess what? What we assign to the interns change. So we have some very flexible interns. It's not just project driven. It could be team. What do you need on your team? What skill sets are you missing?
Yeah, just get your feet wet and write a quick position description. Brianna, I'll get to your question here in 1 second, but I do want to talk about Dom when talking about the interns I got left behind. I think I needed another writer or two or something like that at the end of my second year, and I was like, okay, I need another writer. I was really kind of figuring out my own workflow, and Dom got literally an Excel spreadsheet with over 2,000 interns and was like, pick the ones with the major that support you. And I was like, this is outstanding. I just told Mary, I was like, Mary, hire two. I was like, I don't get time to look at the 2,000, but that's how many students were out there that were in the pool after the initial hiring period. It was incredible. Okay, Brianna asked a very good question, I think, for Cheryl. What happens if a mentor supervisor changes positions over the course of the year? Does the intern follow the mentor? Or does it stay in the shop that they originally hired in?
It is flexible. Most times what we've seen in this case is that the students, as long as the mentor is going to another government position, the student usually follows that mentor, which is, that's a good thing. They love that mentor and they want to stay, but it's flexible. And that's why you have two mentors with each project too. So if the student decides to say the person is not going to a government sector job, then that intern still has the opportunity to finish the internship.
Makes sense. That was a great question.
I can talk about this one as well. When I transferred from the Veterans Experience Office back over to the Digital Media Engagement team here at OPIA, Office of Public and Intergovernmental Affairs here at VA, I actually, I think the interns helped sell the director on bringing me back to the team, because it's like, well, you could like hire somebody else, or you could bring somebody who has 30 interns with and so I'm like, I have graphic designers, web developers, content writers, and editors, and I'm like, you can bring me back with all 30 of these people, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring them back. It was actually interesting. I think they helped me get a job, to be honest.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Michael D'Agostino has another question. What are the interview best practices? How do you handle the large number of applicants to any particular position and vet candidates? So I'll kind of start on this one. In August, is it August when we finally log back in, all the students have applied. You'll see all the names and all their kind of basically, what are they called? Draft letters of like why they want this position. And you'll see their majors.
And sort of a list of their qualifications.
Yeah. It's almost like a personal statement.
Yep.
Yeah. They'll do a personal statement, and you'll see if because they're applying through USA Jobs, they use the USA Jobs resume template. So you'll see if they've had any jobs or anything like that also.
Yep. And that's kind of the vetting process. You kind of just look at a name, majors, some of their initial statements, what they've written, and you make a determination. P.S. Scott, can the internship be completely virtual? I know all of ours are completely virtual. I don't know if there are any part-time.
We don't have any in person.
Yeah, we don't have any in person. Cheryl, do you have?
We promote this as being a completely virtual program, and it kind of opens the avenue up. Students don't have money to do in-person internships anymore, where they have to, go to a place, move, pay for lodging or housing and things like this, that kind of takes that away, and it opens this up to a wider array of students.
Yeah, especially with the ones that have talent, that have social and economic issues, and they don't, yeah, like you said, like they don't have a chance to move to a new city or come like that. I've had people that are like, hey, I'm still able. I've had one student, she was like, I live with my parents still, and I think this is great that I can work at a department level, organization within the government from my parents' house. And we have one that she travels from Wisconsin for going to school, and she's doing the summer internship. She's extended through the volunteer program in Alaska. So she's able to go home in the off season, but still be able to have this continuation of service.
We've had interns from London and Hong Kong and like all over the world, but they're like American citizens attending college abroad, basically. But yeah, so it's been interesting.
Michael's got another good question. So you generally don't set up interviews per se. You're building teams based on experience, education, and application materials. It sounds like interns get offers quite quickly, and moving fast is important. Absolutely. Especially if an agency is looking for specific skills or qualifications. Absolutely. There was some that I've been like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to this person, because that first year I wanted to do interviews, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till to interview this person. They're going to be great. Oh, they're already hired by another agency. Oh, I probably should have just sent them an offer.
I would say you have to get on this quick. August, you're going to get an email from us the first week of August with all of that information. Tanner and Dom are so right. We usually say, hey, interview, because sometimes doing that blind hiring can be hit or miss. But if you are going to interview, you have to get on this quick. These students are being hijacked by agencies, okay? They have applied for 3 projects. Someone might beat you if you wait. And then you're going to have to wait, just like Dom said, and say, oh gosh, I got to, while you won't have to look through a list of 2,000 names anymore, we've automated everything so you can do a search by, say, majors or some keywords. But you still will have to go through students. But guess what? Yeah. You're going to wait. Those great students, they're going to be gone. This is on you. You have to be quick. You got to be quick.
Brianna, we will definitely get you in there. Sophia, this is going to have to be the last question. Then I'll give the panelists one more chance to add anything. Sophia Lou says, is there some cutoff to choose interns? What if they end up not working out for one agency? Can they apply or be available for another internship, especially if they are initially chosen by another agency? Trying to figure out what that's trying to say.
They apply in July, and you can select them through August, basically August to September. But you can still select them after the fact. Like I've had to, we were just discussing, I've actually had to accept or reach out and make offers to interns well after September, just because we realized, hey, we needed more interns. But there's a cutoff date for them to apply. I don't know if there is a hard, like, you're supposed to select them in August. But I think they're flexible on that.
I think what she's trying to ask too is, like, can the students go to another agency if it's not working out with them? With, like, say they're not working out in our team, and like, can they go back to the VSFS? I know we can, but can I know it would be harder for the students because there's so many that didn't even get an internship, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
It's harder for the students. It depends on the situation, really and truly. If the student reaches back out to us, and if it wasn't anything malicious, we work with our vast network to go ahead and find that student another internship.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay. So last question for either one of you. Is there anything that I did not ask, that the participants didn't ask in the session here, that you think is important to share?
Yeah. For me, I would say that if you're going to be building a large team, make sure that consider how you can break it up into, like, different departments. That's what I had to do in order to field a team of like 300 people. Basically, I made division officers, department heads, executive officers. Basically, I was in the military, so I basically broke them into departments as they would be on a ship. That's why I call them a navy of interns. And then promote most competent interns to leadership positions and allow them to do, some leadership tasks. They will surprise you. You'll be pleasantly surprised, I think.
Cheryl.
I would say, on top of what Dom just talked about, is don't miss out. Don't let that, we're kind of late in the game presenting this to everybody. Don't miss out. We can work this. We are here for you. If you have questions, you have our email address. Please, please, please just reach out. There might be something particular to your agency that didn't go over. I see there are more questions coming in. Feel free to reach out to our small team. We do personally respond to each and every email that we get.
Outstanding. Well, thank you again for all to the panelists, to Dom, to Nora, to Cheryl. Thank you again for the attendees that have attended here for this first ever SocialGov live session. Again, you can reach out to the VSFS team in the communication below. If you have until the 18th to register and get your PDs in. Again, thank you for subscribing to Listserv. Thank you to Gabby for assembling our board so we can bring this to you, and please stay subscribed to the SocialGov Listserv as we continue to look for ways to interact with you and bring you more great information like this program. Take care. I'm going to call it a day and have a good one.